Powered by hurt. That is the topic that we're talking about today. And before we can get into what each of us as women and the experience in the life that we have lived so far and what we've been through, um, we got to understand collectively what power is. And power is the capacity or the ability to directly influence a behavior. So if you have the power, you can have that ability on the inside to change some things, and not just change it, but change the behavior of it. So power, it means everything. We add power to a lot of things that we do and say, and what we believe. So when we talk about powered by hurt, and hurt is the suffering of pain, it really gets deep to see how was we powered by hurt. And what I'm first going to get into is what it means to us, So um, the first question that we have today for the panel is, what does powered by hurt mean to you? And it could be just a definition of what it means to you. It could be an experience, whatever way, when you heard that and you really like digested it, let it marinate, what came up to you and what rung out to you that could help other people. Well, I'm going to start off with Queen Stats.
Um, to me, power by hurt, my initial thought when I hear that phrase is endurance and perseverance. It's that ability to pick up and keep going even if you do feel wounded or if you do feel hurt. It's that ability to dust yourself off and keep moving forward regardless. That's my definition for it.
Right. Awesome. Next, we're going to have a voice of reason.
Okay. Now, I hope you don't mind, but I did write something that I wanted to share, if that's
yes,
okay.
Yes, of course.
I timed myself earlier. It's about 3 minutes.
Awesome. Go ahead. Yes, totally
okay?
Fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just put it up here. Of course, the computer's going to act up when you come live like this.
It's always,
So powered by hurt. Yeah, and this is just how it kind of spoke to me. Actually, this morning when I got up, the pen just started flowing. So this is what it means to me. Powered by hurt. It's the transformation of the mental, physical, spiritual being that takes place after the healing begins. When you feel you can't think any lower, all you have is up. But there is something that has to take place for this to happen. The decision to not allow your current situation to dictate your future peace of mind. Don't ignore the pain, feel it, release it over and over again if you need to. The biggest mistake is masking it. Drinking, pill popping, smoking. Cry out, speak out, talk to a friend or a clinician. If you don't allow yourself to hurt, then it will manifest and surface in other ways that could be detrimental to you and those that are closest to you. Verbal abuse, sexual indiscretion, impulsive decision making. We as a community have been taught to suck it up and just deal with it. Move on, and that we don't have time to stop and feel. Even the extreme hurt that comes from losing a loved one. Many of us are told that it was just their time. And God's got another angel. This might be true, but they don't tell us how to process the pain or that it's even necessary. Especially in the church. They tell us don't grieve too long. God can't use you if you allow Satan to take your joy. Just making self-gratifying proclamations without telling us the expected stages of grief. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Yes, we can. Yes, we can and will get through, but let's not deny that we're feeling as we go through. Look up from your rock bottom. Know that as long as you have breath in your body, you have another day to fight back and pull yourself up little by little. And when you do get back to you will then experience the power that will give you your testimony. Taking back your power after going through the process of the hurt. Ladies, let's continue to share our testimonies, our triumphs, and use our power to help pull up the next one who may be powerless. Love you all.
Oh my goodness, that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Voice of Reason. We really did miss you. We want you to take your breaks, but we did miss you.
Thank you. I believe I missed you guys too.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Yeah, so that was amazing. It really touched me. A lot of things that she's tapped into, a lot of things that she stepped into. There's a lot of things, and that is one of the key things that she spoke about. It is a must for us to be able to release our emotions. We have to release our emotions in order to move forward. Okay, next we have Mayo Day, and the question that we're talking is, what does powered by hurt mean to each of these king and queens? Okay, Maya Day.
Let's see. Powered by hurt. For me, it means taking the energy from the hurt or pain and redirecting it to where it could be used in a positive manner. Okay, it gives, for some people, depending on what the situation is and what they're using that energy for, okay, it fuels them. It keeps them moving forward. For an example, if a person came from a bad household, okay, that was the pain of the household, is fueling them not to give their children that same environment, is fueling them to change their lifestyle so they don't repeat the lifestyle that they saw. So it is the desire to not feel the pain again that I think fuels it. That's what I think.
Yes, that was awesome. Awesome. Redirecting that energy that we're getting from that pain and changing it into positive. That's what my day was talking about. And that's amazing. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. That's it. You could say it either way, but we'll talk about I'm a winner. I'm a winner because she sure is. Hi, beautiful. Okay, let me switch you. Hold on. Hi, love. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay, you can give a brief description about yourself and then please tell us what powered by hurt means to you, love.
Okay. Hello, everybody listening to me right now. Hello, queens. You all look amazing. I'm sorry I'm late. Please forgive me. I look a mess. Anyway, my name is Amawina. Out of BIGO, my name is Edwina Aleme. I am a spoken word artist. I promote the literary arts. When you come to my broadcast, all you hear most times is poetry. I usually hold like poetry slam competitions on the app, as well as an open mic or maybe a little bit of motivational talks. That's just basically what I do. I am a poet. And so what powered by hurt means to me is, like Mayode said, it depends on how you were brought up from your family. It depends on whatever it is that is going on within your family. That kind of forms the energy that helps you to be hurt for a very long time or to get to a point, break from it, and use that hurt to become powerful in the positive side. So I said on the positive side, you can either use it as the positive power that's deciding to channel that energy from being hurt to further better yourself, or you can further use that as a negative power to push you to either be hurt forever or to hurt other people. So that's what powered by hurt means to me. Just very short.
Awesome. It was great. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm a winner. So redirecting that energy into positivity, even though it was, whether it was used by negative, that hurt, that pain that we feel, changing it so it can elevate us. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Balboa, you have the floor now. I want to switch it up. There we go. Yes. What does powered by hurt mean to you, love? Sorry, you're muted, Balboa. Yeah. No problem.
I forgot that I muted myself. So the first thing that came to mind, thinking about powered by hurt, was my connection to my faith. I was raised Christian, but I am a practicing Buddhist. I really see religious practices, faith practices as different doors, all connecting to the same higher power. And in the Buddhist faith, they talk about human revolution and the duality of life, pain and pleasure, sadness, happiness. All of these things are the duality of life that all are meant to thrust you into a better relationship with the higher power for your own personal development, to fulfill your determinations and all of those things. But I also thought about Kendrick Lamar. All my life I had to fight, right? And the fact that the experience that I have had that have hurt me, when I look back, I can see how those very things were the things that catapulted me in my life forward, away from maybe something that was not meant for me, but definitely on a path of improvement, of personal development, of challenging the people around me to do better, for us to work better together, even into improving my community for the betterment of society around me. And so that's what being powered by hurt means to me.
Oh, awesome. Great. That was amazing. Balboa, that was amazing. Thank you for your words. Now we have all of a idea of where we come from and what type of queens that we have on this panel, with their view of power by hurt and how amazing it is, and in their understanding of it. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the next question that I have, and this is to the panel, so the panel could feel free to raise their hand to answer and things. But the question is, what are some ways we can be powered by our hurt negatively? Because a lot of us, we're just positive queens. That's how we are. We can take a bad situation and turn it into good. But for people to recognize it, so they could know and say, okay, that's what they were talking about, or this sounds familiar. What are ways that someone can be powered by their hurt negatively?
I'm going to start. The direction that I'm going to choose to take is vengeance. Revenge. Going the dark route, if you will. Just being so hurt by everything that you decide to give the world the same hurt. I'm lagging. I'm sorry, y'all. But you decide to give the world the same hurt that you've been giving yourself.
Wow. How does
we forget?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, we forget that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Like, if we want to get biblical with it, not Christian, biblical.
Right.
But we choose to take it in our own hands. So.
Yes. How can that vengeance affect us? Or can vengeance be something that is learned? Is it something that's learned that we've seen before, or is it something that it just is created from within, a feeling that we already have, an emotion? Or can people take vengeance differently? My vengeance is different than your vengeance. Our vengeance is all the same. How do you feel about that?
think people can take it to different levels. I think an individual has to decide how far they're willing to go to get retribution, or what retribution even is, or what it looks like. So that would definitely depend on the person, and some people would go as far as to take a life.
That part.
Or to, yeah.
Levels. There's levels to vengeance. Awesome, Queen Stats. Levels to vengeance. Does anybody else have an example or something in some ways that people can be powered by their hurt negatively?
Well, I want to say, I do think that there is a natural aspect of it. I think it's something that I have seen even in child's play, where even at very young ages, a child will, if they're not getting their way, they didn't get the toy that they wanted, they didn't win the game, they can have that inclination to be vengeful as well, right? And maybe not necessarily because it's being taught to them. They may be even being taught to do the opposite, but still, it's a learning process. But I do definitely know, and I think I've had my own personal experience with being on a pivot where I strive to be positive and supportive and open and thoughtful and forgiving and all those wonderful things. And at the same time, catch me in the wrong moment, and I got that for you. Right? And it's a day-to-day challenge to rise above that inclination.
Awesome, Balboa. Okay,
yeah, I agree too. I agree with that, with both Queen Stats and Balboa. A lot of times it's human nature to react to pain, and you really have to take time to think it through. Which I don't think it's. I'm not sure if it's really human nature to think things through when you're reacting to hurt, when you're reacting to pain. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, right? It happens before we even knew it. That's why there's such a slim line, very slim line, where things can go too far and escalate so quickly. And you almost have that blackout moment that people call that blackout moment. So, yes, I think it's easier for us to react negatively, am I saying that right, to a situation of hurt than it is to take the time to step back, to breathe, and to think of what the consequences could be with that negative reaction.
Right. Awesome.
Just so easy just to, to lash out.
Yeah, that's the easy way out.
Yeah.
Does any other queens have anything else to say? Okay, Maya Day. Oh, you're muted. See, that's because they be on point. That's why they're muted. Okay, I can take that. Go ahead.
I think that when you're hurt, when something happens that's hurtful, the first reaction is to be hurt. Okay, that's what we do instinctively. We get hurt and then we get mad. Okay, and I think that a person's moral compass, their intelligence, will determine what happens next after their anger. Are they going to sit in that anger and fester and come up with a plan to hurt that person as much as they feeling hurt right now? Or are they going to take that energy, okay, and turn it in a direction, okay, that does something positive to their life, to the point that the person that hurt them recognizes the hurt? Because you can make a person feel you're hurt in many different ways, and it doesn't have to be direct hit the nose. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways of letting someone know that you're hurt, or making someone or having someone to feel the pain that they left you with. And I think that it goes back to a person's religious background, their moral compass, their ability to calm themselves. All of those things come into play, okay, when after they're hurt, the next move. And that determines whether their powered energy is going to be positive or negative.
Right. That part. That was, man, this is too much. Let's close the panel. Everybody's answers is too much. Let's just shut it down. No, I'm kidding. But it's just so good. Feels good to be home. I'm thankful for every queen that's on this panel, for real, for real. Just the energy and the love and everything. Really. Yes, yes.
Can I jump in and speak to the fact that I think that there's also, for some people, a physiological aspect of it. Some people can be wired in such a way where having those controls is not as easy as it is for the next person, or even the learning process of learning how to cope and deal is a little bit longer and slower than it may be for the next person. Some people seem to never actually get it, right? And so I think that's where compassion comes in from those of us that may have a more developed skill set where that's concerned, where others who don't have that are concerned comes in.
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect. Everybody's on different levels. Everybody's in different places. Everybody's actually in different places also of self-love, and that plays a huge part in how we handle that our hurt. And a lot of what the queen said was what I was going to say too. Also, when we deal with that negativity, a lot of times the easy thing, like they said, is I'm going to match that hurt. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. We look for that vengeance that we were speaking about. We look for that. And I'm speaking from experience. When I got hurt and I was immature at that stage, I wanted to hurt back. Hurt people hurt people. We know this already. Because I feel this way, I want you to feel this way. But what we're not recognizing is that, somebody hurts you, and you want to hurt people back. The more that you hurt people, the more you're hurting yourself. So we keep hurting ourselves internally. We're hurting ourselves thinking that we're getting vengeance, thinking that we're doing these things, but really, really it's coming back to us, right, lady? It's coming back to us. So the more and more we try to hurt people from the hurt we feel is the more we hurt ourselves. And that's the fact. When we're on, like the queen said, a whole different level, I know that me hurting someone doesn't benefit me at all. That was their decision to do what they did to me. But by me reacting to it, where am I growing? Where am I elevating? Where am I moving up? As they was talking about, I can waste my energy by matching hurt with hurt, but then I could redirect my energy into my divinity and make it a build into something where I'm growing, right? So yes, yes. See, I got all those nuggets from you guys. Just everybody saying something. I'm with it. Yes, yes. Go ahead, love.
So, listening to everyone speak, something just came to my mind. Now, there's this thing about you focusing on what the next person did to you. This line that says, whatever you focus your attention to, whatever you pay attention to for too long, you give life to it. So if you pay attention to the negative that the person has thrown at you, and you keep focusing on it, you're giving life to that. Automatically, that turns around and builds from within you. And at that point, you're not even thinking. The next thing, you're just acting and just dishing it out. You're just giving out everything that you have within you. But if you're someone who is like someone who would want to think within and think about being compassionate, you would not want to pay attention to that hurt. You will not want to pay attention to that negative thing that has been meted out to you. And then you just look at it and said, okay, this person has done this. Why don't I just let them go? And then that's it. So sometimes we just pay attention to the negative and blow it for sure.
Right. Awesome. Thank you for not leaving that out. I'm a winner. Thank you, love, because we definitely do need to hear that. We have a question in the comments. Love, I'm saving. Please stick around. We're saving the questions for the Q&A. I'm gonna go into one of the queens had mentioned about it was Voice of Reason. She mentioned about masking the hurt. Why? I want to know why would we mask the hurt? Why are we covering the hurt? Is it beneficial to us or is it not? Some people may feel, I'm hurt. I'm going to cover it so I can move forward. Isn't that positive? Is there anything wrong with masking the hurt and moving on? What do you feel about that, Queens? Okay, Mild Day. Okay, love.
You know, I had a situation. Thank you, whoever sent that. Thank you. I had a situation where my sister passed away, and when she passed away, it like to killed my mother. So I was in a situation where I became the head of the house because I became the head of the family because my mother was mentally absent. She was just not there. Okay. Me being put in that position had nothing to do with my grieving. It had nothing to do with how I felt about my sister passing away. It had everything to do with what I had to do to keep my family together. So therefore, I had to mask my feelings and rise above it to step over and move forward to make sure that everything was taken care of in a mature, adult, cohesive way. It wasn't easy. It's not easy to put all of those emotions in your pocket. So masking sometimes is necessary depending on what the hurt is. Now, what I don't suggest is you keep it masked. When I masked my grieving process for my sister, I knew that I was going to have to uncap that bottle later. Okay, but right now, I couldn't do that. So that was my experience. So as far as masking, yes, masking is not only helpful, it's necessary in some situations. But I don't want somebody keep the cap on it forever.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody else have anything to say towards that?
I agree with that, and I feel like I definitely experienced that when my mother passed, and I was just a wee 25 years old, and things needed to take place. Her burial, for one, the funeral, making sure that everybody knew, and I'm the oldest. My brother was away at college, and so sometimes it's so instantaneous because you're thrusted into situations that don't even allow for you to have a grieving process with whatever the hurt may be at that time. Um, However, I feel like there's a delicate balance that takes place between, do I mask it and not address it? I definitely agree with Maya Day that there you have to come to a point where you deal with it. Otherwise, it can become toxic. Um, However, I feel like I come into contact with many people that intentionally feel like you must just move on, don't even deal with it, act like as if it has not happened. And you can see the damage that does not only to them but to the relationships around them when that is the way they or we move through life. So it's always there dormant in some kind of way.
Yes, awesome. Awesome. That's so real. What I'm hearing and what I'm seeing in the comments is also that Maya Day says, yeah, you can mask it for certain situations cause you to mask it because you have to do something else. And that's what she's saying. And Balboa is also the comments are saying also you can't, if you mask it, it's you're running from something and you're not able to deal with it. But I understand that certain situations cause you to do certain things because it's just sometimes it's like in the word talks about you shouldn't just, you are supposed to tell the truth. So somebody will say, I'm real. I told you like it is. No, but it did you communicate with the Most High? Was it the right timing? It's not about lying, but sometimes it really has to do with timing when you release certain things. I'm not going to tell somebody something that is going to help them to grow at a time that they're frustrated and angry. They don't want to hear any of that right now. I'm going to wait for it to be the right time and that right timing to let them know what I need to hear so it's planted on good ground. If the ground isn't tilled, then it's not going to make sense to release it. So sometimes things work in timing, but for sure what all the queens agree to is that you can never keep it masked. You will never be able to move forward. At some period in the time, you have to unmask and you have to deal with what it is. So that's what I'm getting. Does anybody else have voice of reason? Okay, love.
Yeah, I think along with that, especially when it happens, and I lost a sister also, and really had to step up to the plate. And I think what it is that your body does have a way of, it's a safety, there's a system within us that when we have to deal with shock, our bodies go into fight or flight, right? And so I think some of that masking is actually a sense of shock. It's the sense of shock, because what happens is, like with my sister, literally, she was supposed to come home, and she passed the night before. Just everything was set for her to come home. She didn't have any children, so we had to really get into her apartment and get things moved out. And so I definitely, you all understand, I couldn't break down then. I could not. But I was also in shock, because this was not supposed to happen. But at the same time, business had to be taken care of. She had to I had to remove her belongings from the house. Things had to happen. But I also knew enough, and if you're old enough, you know that there is going to be a grieving process. So I knew after that, however many, couple of weeks that it took us to get everything moved out, she had a lot of stuff, that I was waiting. Now I'm waiting for it to happen. And I was stuck. I was still stuck with the mask and the shock and all of this disbelief that it can't be real. And it wasn't until about a year and a half later that I was just driving up to a stop sign, and all of a sudden the tears started flowing. So we have but so much control how we react to things, and when things come out, it's going to come out. It's going to surface. Like I said, it can surface in so many different ways. But that was the day it was for me. It surfaced, and it totally caught me off guard. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know when. And I was hoping that I could even control when it came. Okay, maybe tonight's the night. But no, and that's in that particular situation, the loss, the hurt of the loss of my sister, who I thought was coming home. And no. So, yeah, there's some things that we have control over, but there's some things we actually don't have control over.
Right. Awesome voice of reason.
To ride the wave.
Yes. My condolences to all the all the queens that are on. I'm also used to saying king and queens. My bad. To all the queens that are on the panel that lost someone, my condolences to you. I'm glad to see you standing strong and with the revelation and the strength after all that you've been through, standing as a survivor and standing fully edified and filled. It's nice to see, because that part, there's people that have lost hope, that you help them with that sense of hope once again, and that they can make it through and that they can see it through. So I thank you guys for that. That was very symbolic, because I don't know if you guys caught that, but Voice of Reason said, when I got to the stop sign, I started to cry. A lot of times when you need, you got to be the head, you got to be the one, you got to be the strong one everyone's looking to. Everyone's looking for you to be the shoulder to lean on. But a lot of times, the ones that are strong, who is being strong for them? And a lot of times, the strongest people are the loneliest people. They lean on the Most High. They find themselves that they don't have a lot of friends, and they find themselves that they're not in a lot of relationships. And that thing, it happens because that strength that you carry, it is divided. You carry a lot of people with that strength. So it's all about you to grow. And a lot of times relationships and things can be distractions, but we have that adrenaline to move forward and push forward. And it was at that time, for Voice of Reason, that the Most High is like, okay, it's time for you to stop and feel. And that's what happened. Right. So that's awesome and amazing. All right. So the next question we're going to get into is, Amawina, you want to say something, love? Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Please just stop me because we can't miss no nuggets. No nuggets. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say so much. When I was listening to Mayode, she said something about the right time. Now, sometimes when you get offended or hurt by someone's action towards you, and you feel like, okay, I understand this person, but I'm going to wait for the right time. Sometimes you get to understand that the right time is now. The right time is now. Because if you say, let me wait till tomorrow, you can observe the person's, how the person behaves is behaving at that moment and say, okay, I'm going to just check it and choose the right words to bring the person to the place where once I start speaking, they will get to understand what I am saying. Now, that also is something that you may have also like you have mastered, because if you have not mastered how to understand the next person, you may not be able to know how to remove the mask to say this is the right time for us to sort this thing out to get to the next level. If you let it linger for the right time to come, boom, that's it. You may never get the right time. So I just said I should add something to that.
If I could just piggyback on that.
Yes, yes, hold on. Let me switch your boxes. Amawina, thank you for interrupting us because we needed that part. Where am I going? I'm going to Balboa. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
I want to take the opportunity right off of what Amawina just said about the time being now, specifically because of something that I just learned, which is that in the United States, they are projecting that by 2050, that the net income for people of color is going to be zero. Zero, right? Which is that we have a challenge before us. And I know that a lot of the dynamics of what we experience in this country is fueled by hurt. And so for many of us, and all of us probably, the time is now. The time is now to unpack these hurts that we experience on a personal level, all the way up through community and societal level. If we do not, we are going to have hell to pay. If you think we have hell to pay now, just look at the projections that we're looking at.
Okay, I was muted. Wow, that is awesome piece of information, Balboa, and thank you for sharing that with us. That's something that says, we sometimes life feels good, but there's things that remind us and facts like that we're not done yet. We still got a long way to go. We have a long way to get there, and we got to stay focused. That helps us. Those facts like that help us to stay focused on our journey and our destiny of where we're going. It's not all about just helping ourselves. Oh, thank you, love. It's not all about just helping ourselves, but as we help ourselves, we help other people, and that's how it works. So something awesome that Amawina said, and I'm glad that she didn't let us go without saying it, is that the time is now. I'm speaking from myself. I live that way. If I see something, as she's saying, address it if you can. But you want to have that relationship with the Most High, that I have been to the point where I'm going to address something, and then he says, oh, no, not now. And he stops me myself, but I allow him to do that. Otherwise, that's how I live. I live like I address it at the now. When it happens, I'm going to address it. And unless he tells me, no, not yet, then, and I listen in obedience, I always respond like that. And I'm glad that Amawina brought that up, because sometimes with us saying certain things like wait for the perfect timing, people use it as an excuse. There's a different thing. I'm someone waiting for a perfect timing because the Most High said no, but we ready. Well, you told me to tell the truth, and I want to tell you, no, not right now, daughter. I don't want you to tell you now. I'll let you know, like that. That's obedience. But a lot of people want to use that excuse. Oh, Amawina said, I'll just wait till tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes a week, and then a week, and then a month, and then a year, and no one ever said anything. And it is so. So there is a difference. So I'm glad, Queen, that you stopped me there. Okay, we're gonna get to the next question. This is gonna be the last question because these queens, I know they're busy. I already know. So we're gonna get to the last question, and then we are going to do Q&A, and I have a question already from Ari. I wrote your question down. But the next question that we're going to talk about, thank you, I love you, AOE. Yes. You're everything, so positive all the time. The question is, Queens, is do you feel there is a difference between how women are powered by hurt than men are powered by hurt? Do you feel, because we have king and queens in the building, because this panel is a panel of women, but it's for king and queens. So do you feel there's a difference between how women are powered by hurt than how men are powered by hurt? Okay, Maya. Okay. I was like, who's gonna take it first? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
Because I've been thinking about this like all day. Now, okay, the hurt is the hurt, okay, but by us being men and women, being two separate entities, the way it's received is different. So therefore, the outcome is going to be a little bit different. But more than anything else, I think that once the hurt is there, I think that there's a major difference in how it is expressed or shown. I think that that's the biggest difference. As far as the pain itself, I mean, you step on my foot, it hurts. And if you step on his foot, it's going to hurt too. The only difference is the reaction to the pain, I think. So the initial pain itself, I think, is the same, I think. Okay, I think that more so is the reaction or the showing of the pain is what's different. That's just Mayody's opinion.
I'm about to knock my phone down. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little too excited. I'm getting excited. That's what I'm talking about. Does any Amawina, would you like to say something? I saw your hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Switch the box, love. Okay. There we go. All right, there we go.
I really do agree with Mayode for what she just said. Yeah, the pain or the hurt is the same, but how you react to that situation, it makes it different. There are some women who, when they are hurt, they're like, okay, let me just let it go. And there are others who will get so hurt and they will pick up a baseball bat and they just want to do this and take your head off your neck. And then there are some men who, when they are hurt, they just can't say anything. At that point, they just want to stay away and not say anything. But there are those when it happens, they just want to react immediately, like lift someone up and just toss the person down. So everything, that's the only difference. The reaction, what makes it different. But the hurt, I think, like she said, depends on the person.
Right. Awesome. That was great. I got some good laughs out of that. That was awesome. Does anybody else have anything to say? Do they feel there's a difference between? Okay, Balboa. Go ahead.
So, and much love to the men. I do feel, however, that, and if I had to put it in buckets, 3 different buckets: expression, reaction, and allowance for another person to feel hurt and express and react to that. For me, collectively, if I look at men across my life, it seems that they differ a lot in those 3 areas. And if I had to think of maybe why and boil it down, it feels like it's an empathy skill. Because I feel like as a woman, yes, we are nurturers by nature. And I feel like maybe some of the ways that we maneuver through certain hurts is because of that empathy. And being empath, even depending on who you are, right? And if you know what that feels like, if you know, if you're sensitive to it, then it governs how you navigate through it to an extent. But I also feel like society plays a huge part in why there may be a difference, because from men are boys, there are ways in which they are told, you don't do that. You don't cry. You don't act like that. You don't feel like that. You toughen up. right? You're not allowed to feel. You're not allowed to be heard. You're not allowed to express it, right? And then it's pushed out of them as no one is allowed to do that, right? I can't do it. You can't do it either. So
I absolutely agree with that. Oh, I'm sorry, Candy. Just to kind of piggyback off of that, I just wanted to bring up the fact. I'm sorry, one second. What I wanted to add to that, and trigger warning if this does get a little heavy for anyone, but male suicide rates versus female suicide rates. Men are more likely to be successful in the act of committing suicide. The reason why they are more likely to be more successful in the act is because when they decide that they're ready to go, they will make it as violent, as absolute as, you know what, it's game over, because they're truly done with existence at that moment. Women, on the other hand, even though they're not as successful, we are more likely to attempt suicide. We're more likely to basically say, you know, dramatically, I'm done. I want to give up. And because we choose methods that are a little bit more graceful or that are give you the capacity of being saved, whereas you're taking pills versus, you know, deciding to end it with a firearm, there's the more likelihood of you being saved and recovered afterwards for women. And a lot of that also comes to the fact that number one, it's really seen as a passionate thing. But once a woman gets to the other side of it, because we have more instances of kind of our makeshift therapy with like sisterhoods, where even in this setting where we will be more likely to get together and sit down and talk about these things, we're more likely to be resilient afterwards and figure out a way to pick up and move on. Versus if a man, if he does fail the first attempt, the likelihood of him to try again pretty soon is a lot higher. So I just really wanted to bring that fact into it because, one, we don't really like to address it or talk about it on this side of it when we're not necessarily dealing with it. But when you're talking about being powered by hurt and being powered by that pain, for men, you're more likely to leave this earth because of an inability to handle or deal or tolerate that pain in a way that is conducive to your survival. So that's just kind of my way, my perspective that I wanted to take in that question.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, for the facts, Queen Stat. And that is real. I have done that before and talked about the misconception of kings, and that's what a lot of those facts we don't see and we don't understand, and they're more likely to use drugs and use alcohol abuse and these things like that, and it's statistically shown. And I wanted to say something off of what Balboa was saying was, you know, it's something that their life has been structured to be stripped from them, and then when they get an adult age, we demand it from them as women, and that's what's really hard. I mean, it's hard. It's real hard, and I spoke about that. Even my father, I could see it with my father and my brother, and it's not till now that my father is really open and allowing my brother to kind of be that way. That's how close of a generation that traditional be a man, don't cry, don't be vulnerable, don't show weakness. They don't even hug each other, no kisses. It's really, you know, but then when we get in relationships with them, that's what the women demand from them, and it really gets like as Balboa was saying, you got to look at the sides, and Queen Sats and all the queens here. So that's understandable. I seen hands go up. Anybody else want to add something to this question?
I'm glad you added about vices, leaning into vices because of that, but also the incarceration rate and the rate of violence specifically from men is also a factor in that. We are losing our men for various reasons, all the way through death, but definitely different levels of society negatives. They are being impacted by that because of not being able to navigate those feelings.
Yes. Anyone else have anything to say? Okay, but Voice of Reason.
Yeah, and Yeah, and I just wanted to add quickly, just the physical makeup. They're dealing with ego and testosterone, and I do believe, that has a lot to do with how they react to things. Having to be the winner, having to stay on top. It's a constant competition. Right. They rather take their own life than for you to take it from them, or it's for you to take it. But I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. And we women, like Balboa, and I believe Mama Winna spoke about, we're more forgiving and we're the nurturers. So a lot of times that's why we go back to the hurt, because we think it's going to get better, because we want to believe the promises that were made. It's going to get better. Okay, this time it's going to be different. And we're more forgiving when we keep going back, some of us. With a man, it's like Queen Steph said, this is what they're feeling, and they're reacting in the moment, and they want to have complete control of the situation, no matter what it is. So I think a lot of that is that chemical, or could be a chemical imbalance as well, with the testosterone and then the natural ego of a man.
Awesome. Thank you for that voice of reason. That was good. Okay, so that was the last question. So right now we're going to go into Q&A. So if you have any questions in the comments, please put it down. We have one question from earlier that I'm going to talk about, and if I don't see any other questions from then, we're going to close out. These queens are so awesome and amazing, and thank you for each and every one of you that are have gifted. We appreciate it, and we thank you. We thank you truly. So the question that Ari was asking, Ari the doll, she said that her mother, I don't know if you guys saw it, my queens, but she said that her mother and her have been going through, and her mother has kicked her out numerous times out of the house. She says that there is absolutely no respect left. That's what she said. So that was the question that she's asking. So I guess she's talking about the hurt, or being powered by hurt, or how can she help the situation, or what should she do that she's in this situation. Anyone can answer if whatever you feel, or past experiences you've dealt with, or anything like that. Okay, my day.
Well, the first thing that I would suggest that you do, if you're over 18, over 21, is to come up with an exit plan. Come up with a plan. Use this energy, okay, and use it to fuel your exit. That's the first thing that I would suggest that you would maybe look into or think about. The second thing that I would suggest is that try to understand where her bitterness is coming from, because bitterness is nothing more than unvented anger. So real deep down in her, she's angry about something, and it has manifested and festered into venom or bitterness. So maybe if you can understand where her anger / bitterness is coming from, then it can give you a better perspective as to how to deal with it or not deal with it. That's my suggestion.
All right. Awesome. Would anybody else like to add to that, or? Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, Amawina. There we go.
Forgive me, everyone, for if I say this, please just forgive me. It is something that I know I have come up with. I don't know if it is true, but for me, it is something that I have concluded on. I have said one thing, that our mothers are bullies. Forgive me. Now, it's not they will bully you into silence, not because they don't love you as a child, not because they don't want to see you progress, not because they don't want to see you succeed, but they will bully you into silence without them even knowing that they are bullying you into silence, into doing what they want you to do, according to their own plan, according to what they have arranged for you, their child. Now, when they begin to react to certain things, like certain ways, that you carry out stuff in the house, one thing I have come to learn is that you don't get to blame them immediately. You also understand that they are coming from a place where they also have been hurt. So there are times when subconsciously their minds just go down into that place and they rest there. So at that point, you won't understand that this is what is going on in their mind. They too may not even understand that that's what's going on in their mind. And when you just do something, it just triggers, a problem. Now there's this squabble between both of you. And if you don't have better understanding of this, you begin to see them as, oh, my mother doesn't like me. She doesn't want me around. She just needs me to be away from her. And sometimes in Africa here, we'll be like, are you sure you're the one who gave birth to me? You know, that kind of question. Why are you behaving like this to me? But if you understand that they are also coming from a place of hurt, from a place of pain, if you understand that and be patient with them, you will then begin to fall in line with what they want, not because you just want to do it, but because you're understanding now that they are coming from a place of hurt. So instead of being angry and bitter at them and also replicating their own kind of hurt, pain, and anger or bitterness or whatever it is, you just rest and say, okay, let me just allow you do what you want to do, but we will talk about this. Like my mom, I'm sure she'll be hearing me right now, but there are certain things that I wasn't able to tell her years ago. But there are times when we sit close together, I'll be like, you did this, so good. And I'm telling you right now that what you did, I didn't like it. That's the reason why I reacted to you towards you this way. And she'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize that I did that to you. Okay, I'm very sorry. We apologize, hug, and that's it. Nobody is fighting. So I think if there's that understanding, then it just becomes better and beautiful.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. It's interesting that Maya Day said you need an exit plan. That's the first thing. It's an exit plan. That is for sure. That's number one. If you're of age, you definitely need an exit plan because right now what's going on isn't healthy for neither one of you right now. The other thing is, and part of that exit plan, there's different type of mothers, and I'm witness talking about a mother that, has dealt with some things in her life and still dealing with those things, and that's why it comes across a certain way, but she doesn't mean it to come across. She's trying to love you. She's protecting you. So that love sometimes translates in different ways, and we can't really understand it at the time because it looks like you're always harassing me. It looks like you're always on my back, and it just looks like you never want me to have fun, or it looks like you never want me to move ahead. But it's really like that trying to protection type of covering. A lot of times parents don't realize that the more and more they want to, trying to direct their child's life, and sometimes to the point that they're like, because I didn't get to do this dream, I want them to live this dream, try to live things through their children. Those dreams that we have for our children could be living nightmares for them. And that's why it never works. Maybe they don't want to be a doctor, but you missed your opportunity on being a doctor. So you're forcing them to be a doctor, but they're really an artist at heart. Are you raising them organically to be who they are? Or are you trying to cover the mistakes that you made and you want to make up for them through your children? There's a lot of avenues that are like that. And the reason why I say there's different type of mothers, because I had a whole opposite type of mother that, she didn't deal with that missing self-love and that hurt that she had in her relationship and her marriage, and she chose to take that hurt out on me. Why? Because I looked like my father. Instead of her hurting my father, who she felt was hurting her, it was easier to hurt me. So, and that's what she wanted, and that's what she did. So, sometimes we got to really come to a place to understand who we're dealing with. Like Maya Day, where's the hurt coming from? Where's this stemming from? I got to get down to the nitty gritty to figure out, is my mother really love me? Or like Maya Day said, or maybe it's just not a relationship you should be in. And sometimes it's like that. We want the titles to match the descriptions, but they don't have to, because they still have freedom of choice. They could be a mother if they want to. They could be a father if they want to. They still have choice. Just because they have the title doesn't mean they fulfill the description, right? Okay, so I'm not going to keep my